Welcome back to the Gamekeeper's Cottage Diaries. Welcome back to Gamekeeper's Cottage. This is a short follow-up video to my previous video where I asked ChatGPT for some planting suggestions for these two planters on our back door. If you watched that first video, if you haven't, I'll link to it in the description below. Anyway, if you watched that first video, you will remember that the Serbian Bellflower at the front here, I needed one of each for the planters, but actually ended up with 3 of them. So I went back on ChatGPT and asked it for suggestions on what I could do for another planting scene using this stone planter that we've got spare, that's currently sitting here on the table, that we will put in front of our front door somewhere around here. So let's have a look at what ChatGPT suggested, and then we'll come back to the actual flowers I bought. As I wasn't sure what pots I had available, I started the session with ChatGPT by asking it to recommend a size of pot for the Serbian Bellflower. It came back giving me some options for the minimum and best size of pot. We then moved on to suggestions of what to pair the Serbian Bellflower with to give a planting scheme. As you can see, ChatGPT gave different options for different types of schemes: a calming and elegant scheme, a cottagey wildflower feel, and suggested plants such as Heucheras, ferns, creeping jenny and violas. It also suggested some simple arrangements such as a trailing and foliage mix or a woodland mini scene. I decided that I would like to go with a woodland mini scene, but before I made the final decision, I uploaded a photo of the pot and the position where it was going to be going to ChatGPT and just asked it to reconsider its suggestions. ChatGPT came back with a suggestion that featured the Serbian Bellflower, a creeping jenny, and a Heuchera lime marmalade, and an optional viola. I asked it to update the suggestions to give a woodland mini scene. ChatGPT then came up with suggestions that included wild ginger, greater woodrush and a soft shield fern, together with adding some moss to the pot to give it more of a woodland feel. The final planting list that ChatGPT came up with included the Serbian Bellflower that I already had, an autumn fern, a foam flower and some cushion moss or white moss. Wary that I would be buying these from a local garden centre and that they might not have the plants in stock that I wanted, I asked ChatGPT to give me some alternatives. So it gave me a few alternatives such as soft shield ferns and a Japanese painted fern for the autumn fern, and a couple of choices of Heucheras and a barrenwort to replace the foam flower, and some choices for the moss, although I had already decided that I wouldn't actually be putting the moss in at the moment, as we have a lot of moss sitting around the gardens of Gamekeeper's Cottage. So, with all of our choices done, let's go back to the garden and see what I finally bought. So let's have a look at the plants we actually ended up with. So first up, we have the plant that we already had, the Campanula, the Serbian Bellflower, which I will put to one side to flow over the edge. Next up, we have a Heuchera Cherry Cola that I will put towards the front of the planter. And then finally, we have our fern, which is a Athyrium niponicum Metallicum. So these aren't exactly the plants that were initially suggested by ChatGPT, but these were the closest alternatives that I could find. and this fern will go towards the back. So those are our plants. I will also eventually be adding some moss to the top to make it more of a woodland scene, but I will do that over time. Okay, so we've got the plants. We have our potting mixture, the 80-20 John Innes and horticultural sand, and we have our pot, which as you can see has a slightly damaged rim, which is what I'm going to attempt to cover with the Serbian Bellflower. So now I'm going to pot this up. So that's the 3 plants planted and the pot positioned here by our front door. So as you can see, we've got the fern at the back arching over the pot. We've got the Heuchera over here to the left, and then the Serbian Bellflower over on the right, which will hopefully start to flow over the side of the pot. I will at some stage add some moss in, just to give it a bit of a woodland feel, and perhaps in future fill out this front area with another plant, but we'll see how everything grows to start off with. All that remains is for me to thank you for watching, and to ask that if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and join us in the comments below to help the channel grow. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.